Rick Gumbel in New York, 3:49 to play in the first half. Siena with a 3-point lead on the 4th seed Boilermakers of Purdue. We'll keep an eye on that one for you. But now, game time for game 2 of the day in Milwaukee. West Region, the 14th seed Golden Grizzlies of Oakland, 3rd seed Pitt. Eagle and Jim Spanarkel are there.
On the road to the Final Four, it is a matchup in the West Region. Number 14 Oakland taking on number 3 Pittsburgh. Action here from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Xavier is already advanced. They knocked off Minnesota earlier today in the 6-11 game, and they will play the winner of this Pittsburgh-Oakland battle. Look at the starting lineups for the Golden Grizzlies of Oakland, the champions of the Summit League. Jones, Wright, Cushingberry, Nelson, and Keith Benson, the Summit League Player of the Year. Pittsburgh Panthers, one of the top teams out of the Big East. We know the Big East has struggled so far early in this tournament. Gibbs, Dixon, Wanamaker, Robinson, and McGee is the man in the middle. This game is brought to you in HD TV by LG. Life's good. Eagle, Jim Spanarkel, rest of our CBS crew. Pittsburgh 24-8 on the season, 13-5 in the Big East. Curtis Shaw, Antonio Petty, and Chris Beaver, the officiating crew. Shaw has officiated 6 Final Fours in his career. Pittsburgh controls the tip. We are underway here in Milwaukee. A couple of keys you're looking for here early, Jim.
I would look for, the first thing is the way Pitt plays their half-court sets. They get everybody involved. They're not in a hurry to really take shots.
Dixon, the runner, blocking foul is called, so he will go to the free throw line. Just 15 seconds gone by in this first half. Cushingberry there defensively.
Pitt likes to grind it out, really play tough man-to-man defense, whereas the other side with Oakland, they like to go up and down. They like the transition game, so they kind of look at it where they just have to play relaxed, have some fun, and see if they can get their game going early on in this ball game.
Jermaine Dixon, younger brother of former Maryland star Juan Dixon, who is in attendance here this afternoon. Dixon, the senior from Baltimore, Maryland, knocks down a pair. Pittsburgh with a 2-0 lead. This Pitt team was picked to finish 9th in the Big East preseason Coaches Bowl, and they turned out to be one of the best teams in the country, ranked 16th heading into the tournament. Oakland 17-1 in conference play this year, a dominant team in the Summit League. They work it inside for Benson, Conference Player of the Year, gets the deuce on the interior.
Benson's going to give up a little bit of weight advantage to McGee down deep, probably 40 pounds or so, 35-40, but he has to really try to establish himself quickly on the blocks, catch it and go.
Wanamaker, a do-everything kind of performer for Pittsburgh. That ball was tipped, so no backcourt violation. Larry Wright, who knows Pittsburgh, former standout with St. John's, who transferred to Oakland, got his hand on it. The Wanamaker drive, and it's knocked away.
They like to go up and down the court.
Nelson, the co-captain, feeds it. Cushingberry, a 3. Rebounded by big Gary McGee, 6'10", 250 pounds for Pittsburgh. Ashton Gibbs, what a season he's put together, just under 16 points per game. Nasir Robinson, and it's going the other way, a 3-second call. Oakland University, located in Rochester, Michigan, out of the Summit League, 2nd overall NCAA appearance. Famous alumni, Curtis Armstrong and Robert England, who played Freddy Krueger.
Only you. You're the man.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare in Milwaukee.
Curtis Armstrong, of course, was Booger in Revenge of the Nerds. All right, we'll move on. Pittsburgh has turned it over twice. No shot so far for the Panthers. Gibbs, a jump shot. And rebound knocked outside to Cushingberry. We're tied at 2. 2 minutes elapsed. Jones swings it. Derek Nelson, one of the leaders on this team. Whoa, Larry Wright. And Nelson is there. Can't finish around the rim. And we're tied at 2. The hard drive. Floater doesn't go for Dixon. And knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Oakland. Normally, you think Pittsburgh, Oakland. Jamie Dixon, head coach of the Panthers. The consistency of this program. He has brought it to new heights in his 7th year. Gibbs on the delivery. Pittsburgh, Oakland. They've got some history, just not this Pittsburgh and Oakland.
I'm thinking down and outs, pulling guards.
You're thinking of Fred Bolitnikov.
There you go. Very good, George Blander.
Knocked out of bounds. And last touched by Pittsburgh. Third turnover, Greg Campy, 26th year as the head coach at Oakland, 11th at the Division I level, 4-time Summit League Coach of the Year. He was an assistant at Toledo for 6 years. Terrific personality. Wants to get to 1,000 career games coaching this team. He's right around 768 starting today.
Engaging personality, though, wasn't he yesterday when we had a chance to talk to him?
Wanamaker, the drive, the flip doesn't go. Ball is just not going down for Pittsburgh. Coming the other way, Jonathan Jones, he's quick with the ball. Stripped by Gibbs and a foul. So keep in mind, Oakland is located in the state of Michigan. Oakland, Pittsburgh, you normally think immaculate reception, 1972 AFC playoff game. Franco Harris somehow ends up with the basketball, the football. See, I'm already confused. The colors almost work.
It's strikingly similar, though, isn't it, with Oakland and Pitt? Here we go. 2 safeties on the board, and that's it.
Maybe a new chapter in the Oakland-Pittsburgh history here today. Cushenberry gives it up. Nelson fires. It's an air ball. And caught out of midair by Ashton Gibbs. Pittsburgh is 0 of 3 from the field. 3 early turnovers. Forcing his way in, Dixon, and he is fouled. Trying to fight through against Larry Wright. Now this Pittsburgh team, remember last year, they were oh so close to going to the Final Four. Scotty Reynolds went the length of the floor and scored for Villanova. They lost 4 starters, big-time players, 66% of their points scored, gone. The expectation levels, not from Jamie Dixon,
nope,
from the outside, were not very high. Dixon told us yesterday, no, we always felt this was going to be a good team. These were players that just had to wait their turn behind a bunch of future pros.
Right, exactly. And the other part of it, too, is Jamie Dixon is very, very intense and very, very good at what he does in his craft. And obviously, you never want to let the throttle back in terms of saying to guys, you know what, we're not going to be as good. Now, some of the coaches in the Big East thought, as the big fella Benson goes to the basket right there and will go to the line, his friends, the coaches in the Big East, I know preseason number 9, probably thought losing all of that would have hurt Pittsburgh more. But Jamie Dixon has really done a terrific job throughout his career as an assistant coach, head coach at Pitt.
Dixon said that people outside of the program were using the term rebuilding, and they just didn't buy into it. He has never used the word young once in addressing his team, in addressing the media. He doesn't want that to be a built-in excuse for this squad.
Although they are the youngest team in the Big East from an experience standpoint.
Benson missing on the second attempt, but touched last by Pittsburgh. And Oakland will retain it as Dante Taylor has checked into the game, the freshman from Greenburgh, New York, for Pittsburgh. Oakland is 1 of 6 from the field. Panthers are yet to get a bucket. All their points are at the line.
We'll have to bring back the football again, but it's a football type of score so far.
Here's Wright off the dribble. Cushenberry way outside. That's a long 3. And rebounded by Gibbs for Pittsburgh. Gibbs, the most improved player in the Big East this year. Robinson, attack mode, and rejected by Benson. Up the floor for Nelson. He'll wait for his teammates to join him.
Benson's going to have to get his touches at the offensive end of the floor, but defensively, he will be a factor.
Larry Wright can shoot it. He led St. John's in three-point percentage when he was a member of the Red Storm. Originally from Saginaw, Michigan, he transferred to be close to his hometown. 6'3", the number 14 seed in front of third-seeded Pitt. Robinson feeding. There's the runner by Gibbs. Doesn't get the roll. Benson wrestling for it. Knocked out of the hands of Nelson. And a scramble. Foul is called on a reach hit.
Well, you look at Benson. He was a factor the previous trip. There he gets a clean block, and then we look up and bang. Nice long 3. Oakland by 3.
You want respect? This is the stage to get it on. This is the stage that you gain respect. This is the stage where people find out about you. And all I want them to know when this game's over is that team can defend, that team can rebound, and man, are they tough. Let's go prove that, all right?
Head coach Greg Kampe addressing his team just minutes before the tip here in Milwaukee. And right now, Oakland's got the 6-3 lead. Just over 5 minutes gone by in this first half. Will Hudson has checked into the game for the Golden Grizzlies. Benson way outside. Jonathan Jones looking to get involved. The three doesn't go. And a push underneath. It's going to work against Dixon. He shoved Derek Nelson right around the rim.
And with Greg Kampe, one of the things I found interesting with him, I mean, I mentioned it a moment ago, very charming type of guy. If you recall, late last night we're at the building, he was leaving, and he looked over his shoulder and said, a lot of upsets today.
Well, he's paying attention.
He sure did.
Off the spin move, Wright gets the roll, Larry Wright. What he didn't know at the time was later on in the night, a number 14 seed would knock off a number 3 when Ohio defeated Georgetown. And we've got similar circumstances here. A third-seeded Big East team against number 14 Oakland, a team that not many people around the country know much about. Pitt is 0 of 6 from the field.
Yeah, I put that Ohio-Georgetown one as probably the biggest shocker so far.
Gilbert Brown gets them off the schneid from the outside. Brown gives them points off the bench, up and down. You're never quite sure what to expect from Brown, but he is averaging just over 10 points per game.
There are times when he is flat out explosive, Brown. And then there are other times that he doesn't score as much, but he's still a factor in terms of helping out.
And the denial there by Taylor, the freshman. Off the turnover, Trayvon Woodall is in the game. And a foul called. Offensive foul off the attack. Dante Taylor.
Taylor with the skills, a terrific look by Woodall. Oof. Well, I'm not sure about that one. Looked like the defender kind of just half undercut him.
Turnover number 4 for Pittsburgh. Jamie Dixon having a chat with Curtis Shaw along the sideline. Oakland leads it 8-6. 13:35 to play, first half. Jones feeding inside. Benson off the back end, and the leaner goes for Keith Benson from Farmington Hills, Michigan. Went to Detroit Country Day, same high school as Chris Webber and Shane Battier.
One thing I'm seeing early on with Oakland, Ian, is the fact that they don't seem intimidated, right? Pitt's a tough man-to-man defense, but they're coming down and really trying to get to their strengths. And it doesn't seem like they're backing off early on.
Wanamaker swings it. Woodall unable to hit. He's struggled with a jump shot this year. 10-6 advantage for Oakland.
Haven't seen Jones, who has the ball right now, really up and down on the floor yet, but he is like lightning with it. So it can really pick up the pace for this team when they need it.
Jones, a 4-year starter, the all-time winningest player in Oakland basketball history. And he's the catalyst of this squad.
Trying to get that ball in the hands of Benson on the blocks.
Taylor denying him. Benson fade away. And loose ball foul. Pittsburgh continues to crash the boards, and they're getting caught. Golden Grizzlies, Jones, Summit League career assist leader. Benson, the conference player of the year. And Nelson, who put up 36 in the conference championship game when they beat IUPUI 76-64 to win the Summit League title. 5 team fouls against Pittsburgh now. And Oakland with a 4-point lead.
And that's an indicator right there about how aggressive Oakland is with the ball, trying to get it down low, forcing the action.
They're riding an 11-game winning streak coming into the big dance. Hudson, was that a shot or a pass?
I think he was looking lob.
Well, Benson went into his rebounding stance. He didn't expect the ball to come down. And it's a turnover for Oakland. Greg Kampe, his late father, Kurt, was an offensive lineman at Michigan. Won a national championship in 1947. Hard drive, and count it for Wanamaker.
Now, Pitt, from the perimeter, will put the ball on the floor in multiple ways. A lot of guys like to handle the ball. They're very, very good at it, and will challenge it. When you look at their lineup, a lot of times the 3 perimeter guys, they all seem like they're built the same way. Jamie Dixon likes tough guys, and he usually gets them.
Jones looks to the interior. Benson, he didn't feel anybody behind him initially. Then Taylor came over to help, and a foul called. Keith Benson will shoot a pair when we come back. Right now, Oakland's got the 2-point lead over Pittsburgh. Back to the Bradley Center in a moment. Look at the tournament summary. Cornell gets the win. First tournament win in school history. The Ivy League's first tournament win since 1998. When Princeton got the W. Schools from Ohio 2-0. Xavier and Ohio winning. Ohio State plays tonight here in Milwaukee. And how about former Indiana players combining in the first round? Armin Bassett for Ohio goes for 32. Jordan Crawford for Xavier puts up 28.
Yeah, looking forward to that Ohio State game tonight with Evan Turner and company to see how they perform. And so far, pretty good opportunities for Oakland right now and Greg Campy.
Second foul was called on Taylor. Pittsburgh has 6 team fouls. And Keith Benson going to the free throw line, trying to extend this Oakland lead. Benson, 6'11", 221 pounds, all-time leader in block shots at Oakland. And he's been a double-double machine this season for the Golden Grizzlies. 6 points. He's averaging 17 points and 10.5 rebounds. Knocks down a pair. It's 12-8 Oakland. Golden Grizzlies set a school record for victories in a season this year with 26. And a steal for Oakland. 5th Pittsburgh turnover in the first half. Ledrick Eccles has checked into the game, son of former NBA player Liddell Eccles. Hop step, Nelson loses the ball, and a nice strip there by Gibbs. 5th Oakland turnover. Gibbs using the screen, the roll, and the slam. Gary McGee.
Terrific cut there, too, by McGee. Just waited out, time it, and that's the first real mistake that Oakland has made on the perimeter in terms of helping out.
Quickly back the other way. Eccles getting into the teeth of the defense.
Well, one thing his dad could do, his dad could light it up in a hurry. Very strong player at the guard position, small forward occasionally.
Oakland with a 14-10 advantage. Woodall gives up his dribble. Gibbs now on a dump down. Dixon, shot clock is down to 10. McGee fouled on the inside. Benson was on the front side. And Nelson, oh, there's blood.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. It's the left eyebrow of Derek Nelson, the co-captain, 5th-year senior. Broken foot. He missed all of last year, got a medical red shirt. Over 1,500 career points at Oakland. And they're working on Derek Nelson right now.
Yeah, watch, Ian. I think it's going to be McGee's elbow that inadvertently gets him right now. Watch. There you go. And not only the first thing you have to be careful with there is obviously with all the blood, which could be a problem, but you take that first shot in terms of how hard you get hit. Fortunately, I believe it's like right above the eyebrow, which is the, once it gets hit with an elbow, it does cut very quickly, and the blood comes out like we're seeing right now. So let's just hope he's okay.
Had a broken nose in the Summit League tournament. So I'm sure Derek Nelson is thinking to himself right now, why me and why again?
You know, like I said, the first part, I know there's a lot of blood, and not to diminish that, but just to make sure that he's okay from a conscious standpoint.
Derek Nelson from Lansing, Michigan, high school teammate of Goran Suton, former Michigan State star who played overseas in Russia this year. And now Greg Campy going out to take a look at one of the leaders of this Golden Grizzly squad.
That's one of the crazy parts of basketball. I mean, you get an elbow to that part of your face, it's almost like a knife, just cuts right through the skin.
10:23 mark of this first half, and Oakland has a 14-10 lead. You can see the blood that's on the court right now.
Yeah, just trying to apply the pressure to get the blood to stop from the bleeding, the cut from bleeding.
Nelson was a big-time high school football player, so he's accustomed to contact. You just don't expect it at that angle, especially when
without a helmet.
Yeah, without a helmet.
That's a good sign to see him sitting up.
Training staff is out to deal with the senior co-captain, fifth-year senior Derek Nelson, averaging 12.5 points and 6 rebounds per game.
You know, he'll catch his breath, and you know it's a crazy statement to make, Ian, though, as we see it again here with McGee. And watch the right elbow come down, and it's like just perfectly placed, unfortunately. And he catches not only the cut, but also catches a good shot to the head. But the fact that he's walking off, I mean, he's going to be helped off, but he's walking off on with his own power right there. I have seen, and personally this happened to me, the same exact thing when I was playing. You can get that cut stitched up. I would not be shocked to see him back in a relatively short period of time, as bad as that looked. Now, I'm obviously taking the optimistic side for him and hoping that he's not woozy from the bang of the elbow against his head.
At what level did it happen to you? High school, college, professionally?
In college, and basically was back relatively quickly. I'm not sure the stitch job was the greatest, but
well, coming up, AT&T at the half. Greg Gumbel, Greg Anthony, Seth Davis. They'll take you out for a live look at all the action going on in the NCAA tournament, and they'll get you caught up on all the latest tournament news. It's coming up on AT&T at the half. Now, right now, Greg Kampe has to get by without Derek Nelson. Taking a shot, a right elbow just above the left eyebrow. And it drew blood immediately as Blake Cushingberry, a sophomore from Romeo, Michigan, checks in to replace Nelson. Jamie Dixon's squad, they've only put 10 points on the board. They are 3 of 10 from the field. And they've turned it over 5 times. Pittsburgh had a 50-45 loss to Notre Dame in the Big East quarterfinals. Fighting Irish just figured them out this year. And McGee no good on the first free throw.
Yeah, and Fighting Irish with Mike Bray's team, if you recall, with Luke Harangody hurt, started to change his whole dimension around in terms of the way they played the game. They slowed it down. And generally it doesn't, the pace doesn't bother, even though Pitt likes to, you know, slow it down a bit, man to man. They can win in the tight games.
McGee goes 1 out of 2.
Now does Oakland use this kind of as a rallying cry to just put that injury aside with Nelson for a moment and see how they respond.
Jonathan Jones is yet to get going here in this first half. Pull-up pop doesn't go for Eccles, and Pittsburgh controls the loose ball. Trayvon Woodall, the penetration and the bucket. Woodall, the Brooklyn, New York native, went to St. Anthony's High School in Jersey City, played for Bob Hurley. And he has cut the Oakland lead to 1. And a reach in. Eccles tried to make his move. And it will be Gibbs picking up his second personal.
Yeah, that's one of the things that has gotten him into trouble there, was just the reach. This is a fast team. And you notice with Eccles going around the corner right there, and then you start to reach, and only bad things can happen. Both sides of the floor, because both these teams have pretty good perimeter guys who can handle.
And Jimmy, at the 9:40 mark, Oakland is in the bonus. 1-1, 17 foul against Pittsburgh. Eccles, a 67% free throw shooter. He was a high school quarterback. You have a bunch of guys on this Oakland team that played high school football. And maybe that plays into the intimidation that you talked about earlier, the fact that they're not intimidated by a team from the Big East.
Yeah, because Pitt likes to play that way. They're very aggressive. And, you know, the one thing about that foul situation, too, is we've seen a million times in basketball. It's great to get to that point, but you have to use it to your advantage.
Off the ricochet, last touched by Larry Wright. So Pittsburgh will retain it with 21 on the shot clock. We have 9:25 remaining in this first half. Oakland with a 16-13 lead over Pitt. Catching fire. That won't go for Gilbert Brown. It's saved along the baseline. And a foul on Woodall. Eccles gets up off the deck. and he will head back to the free throw line. He's walking a little bit gingerly as he makes his way out across midcourt now.
Yeah, and Eccles, watch, we talked to football again, but a football receiver steps in front, right, to come back to the ball. Now watch what he does. He steps in front of the defender, puts his shoulder there, gets it by, and gets great reception range in terms of where the ball and the flight of the ball is coming from.
And Eccles converts.
And as you touched on, every mistake that Pitt makes, you end up getting to the line.
Ledrick Eccles, Zachary, Louisiana native. And he's tacked on one more. 6 points off the bench. 18-13, Oakland. This Pittsburgh team averages 68 points per game. Oakland is up around 77. Obviously, different level of competition. Right. Woodall calls out a play. We'll hit the 9-minute mark of this first half. Pittsburgh has looked a little bit out of sorts offensively. Wanamaker on a kick out. Dixon lines it up. Off the mark for three. And the rebound snared by Eccles. Jones on a dump down.
He's got to be patient.
Benson turns and rebounded on that strong side by McGee for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, a little bit of a force just then. Benson didn't really need to do that. He's got a nice looking mid-range jump shot. But with the lead, you can take a little more time and just get settled into your half-court set.
22nd NCAA tournament appearance for Pittsburgh. Out of bounds. Panthers cough it up. Now, Greg Campy told us, look, we wanted to play a tough out-of-conference schedule. They learned
did.
something. They did. And they got thumped a number of times. But what Campy did say is, we caught all of these teams at the worst time. But at the end of it, he told his team, look, you're not going to see anybody better than this in the NCAA tournament. Nothing's going to surprise you if we go to the big dance, which they expected to go to. Benson had it partially blocked on the inside. Wanamaker gives it up. Kick out for Woodall. Off the drive, lunging attempt. No, Benson couldn't grab it. McGee does. Blocked by the rim. And then a foul called. McGee will head back to the stripe. When we come back, it has been a tough and physical game here in the early going, and it's Oakland with the 18-13 lead over Pitt. Look at the game summary here in Milwaukee. Oakland with a 5-point lead. Neither team has shot it well. Benson is the high man with 7. Oakland has 3 players that have accounted for all of their points so far. Benson, Wright, and Eccles off the bench. 18-13. The Golden Grizzlies in front. McGee at the free throw line. That foul was called against Larry Wright. Fortunate for Oakland that it wasn't Benson, because it would have been number 2.
Yeah, so you'd rather switch that foul if you could, right? With Benson, the big guy, they know they're going to need minutes out of him. The average is about 31, but you do not want to see him saddled with the foul, because the big guys generally make the mistakes in traffic.
Richardson comes on for Pitt. And Oakland with a 4-point lead. Just under 8 minutes to play now in this first half. Wright, catch and fire. Missed it for 3. And the freshman J.J. Richardson tracking down the loose ball.
They like their weave action out in front to trigger some offense from them, put it on the floor.
Dixon, the curl to the rim. Layup is good and one. Jermaine Dixon, the lone returning starter from last year's Elite 8 team, is going to the line.
And you watch him use his strength and size, though, as he comes around as a left-handed player. They get him in there in the strong comfort spots on their offense, and then he uses his body and talent to finish it off. So great set, great understanding of the half-court game for Dixon.
Dixon, a 70% shooter. Hudson was called on the foul for Oakland and gets the roll. Pittsburgh within 1. School record 9 consecutive NCAA tournament berths for the Pittsburgh Panthers. Eccles feeding the post. Benson off a backhand. Bank shot. No. Offensive rebound. Yep. Travel called against Hudson. They'll wave off the bucket.
That's a correct call, too. No argument from Greg Campy down deep. Just watch for the little jump step. Yep, you see, he gets himself back into the play just by an inch or two, and it cost him.
Right now, Oakland playing without one of their leaders, Derek Nelson, who took a shot just above the left eyebrow. It's good, and one. Brad Wanamaker. A chance for three.
In those last two offensive sets, we've seen the way Pittsburgh likes to play. Watch the body action here. They create the contact right there, then they look for their shot. But they play hard, they play real strong and aggressive basketball. And
foul called against Cushingberry. Pittsburgh robbed by Woodall. He missed it on the inside, and then a foul called off the rebound action as Richardson got the body in on Benson. Got 6:52 to play in this first half. The Oakland Golden Grizzlies now trailing Pittsburgh 19-18. Pitt Panthers had a tough time offensively just getting out of the gate. Oakland's taken advantage of the free throw line. 9 fouls against Pitt. Benson way off the mark, and the rebound controlled by Richardson for Pittsburgh. Bucket doesn't go down for Dixon. Poked out of there. Benson gets it ahead. Numbers if they hurry. On the rush, Eccles driving. Oh, it goes! But it's going the other way.
Boy, Eccles really exploded. The only mistake here was that he didn't stop to get his shot off. And he had someone on the right-hand side of this play where he could have dished it. And boy, Woodall took the shot right to the chest. Watch the timing, the step. You know, in the college game, it's a good call because Woodall gets there, but I'm not so sure that's a rule that they may have to really think about in terms of how far underneath the basket you can position yourself. I think you just have to give the offensive player a little more leeway, and it's a rule, and it's a good call from the officials right there, but I'm not so sure it has to be adjusted.
So the floater does not count for Ledrick Eccles. They turn it over. Back it into a zone now. Pittsburgh looking for some openings here. Dixon forcing the issue.
Yeah, they're trying to keep these kind of slice dribbles away.
And he is fouled hard on his way to the hoop. Jermaine Dixon will head to the line. Hudson was back there. And it will be Hudson picking it up.
Yep, see Hudson, Hudson couldn't square up the body just then, and another good job by Dixon to slide around his body just a little bit.
Jermaine Dixon, lockdown defender. Offense has been there this year, just under 11 points per game. And he is now 6 of 7 at the free throw line. 21-18 Pitt. It's an 8-0 run for the Panthers. Pittsburgh allowed a Big East low 61 points per game, and now Oakland's had a tough time getting points. Long three doesn't go for Eccles. It's rebounded by Woodall for Pitt. And this is an extended scoring drought now for Oakland.
Yeah, they've gotten away from utilizing the foul problems they put Pitt in earlier.
Inside. Count it. Nasir Robinson. He plays bigger than he is. At 6'5", 220 pounds. High energy sophomore from Chester, Pennsylvania.
This team is about as good as there is a team in terms of being able to utilize the strength of each individual on the floor in terms of their athletic strength and power moves that they all seem to have, especially close to the hoop.
10-0 run, 5-point lead for Pittsburgh. We come up on 5 minutes left in the first half. Benson in the crowd comes up short, trying to gather in. Well, somebody was out of bounds. Both players were lying down, and this one will be last touched by Robinson. So Oakland holds on to it. NCAA March Madness On Demand is streaming every game from the NCAA Championship online for free. Watch any game from the tournament live at ncaa.com.
Well, they're whacking Benson around. He's got to extend the ball. See where he shoots that ball, Ian? He shoots that ball almost a little bit above his shoulder. It's difficult to get a clean look from that perspective.
And another team foul against Oakland. And it will be number 3 on Will Hudson, the Madison, Wisconsin native. Wanamaker to the bench. Oakland has been held scoreless over 4 minutes now. And double bonus here for Pittsburgh, 72% free throw shooter. Pitt is 8 of 12 from the free throw line. Hudson will sit. See the state of Wisconsin on his left shoulder. And right now it's going to be a state of sitting on the bench. Wanamaker. Brad Wanamaker leads this team in assists, and he's second in rebounding, averaging 12 points, just under 6 boards, just under 5 assists per game. Now a 12-0 run. Jones to the hoop, and he draws the foul on Dixon from the backside.
And Jones has been very quiet in this first half, hasn't been able to really get on track.
Only one field goal attempt, no points for Jonathan Jones, known as JJ. And 10th team foul against Pittsburgh, second personal against Dixon.
You know, what Pitt's been doing is they've been finding him very quickly as the ball switches hands from defense to offense. They've been able to pick him up in a hurry and not let him get the jets going down the floor.
Change here. Gilbert Brown is in. Dixon will get a breather. That ends a 12-0 run on the Jones free throw. 84% shooter from Okemos, Michigan. 2 out of 2. Pittsburgh up 25-20. This Panther team has the best record over the last decade in the Big East.
Well, they've just done a marvelous job. When you look at it, their overall percentage over those 9 years, they've got the best overall percentage, but they also have the best Big East percentage also.
Jump shot goes for Woodall. That's a good sign for Pitt if Trayvon Woodall is making shots. Largest lead for Pittsburgh. It's 8, and it's going the other way.
Yep, off the leg of Jones, who's trying to pick things up a little bit. Woodall coming back defensively. Pitt responded very well that trip in transition.
Medical redshirt last year, limited to 10 games because of a knee injury. He started the first 11 games, but too many turnovers for Jamie Dixon, so they made a switch in the starting lineup. McGee, the hook, and now it's really coming together for Pittsburgh. It's a 10-point cushion for the Panthers.
Started by driving it to the middle of the floor, driving it at the basket. Now their bigs are posting up a little bit, and they're really spreading the court very, very well.
Oakland looking for somebody to step forward. Wright's jumper. That ball may have been tipped by Woodall on the perimeter. Up the floor for Brown.
Nice pass.
Backdoor feed. Gilbert Brown with the finish. Set up perfectly by Nasir Robinson. Oakland led this game 18-13. Pittsburgh has outscored them 19-2 since. The Panthers up by 12. First round in the West Region. This March, please fill out your census form and mail it back. Inside play for Pittsburgh. Very tough here in the first half.
Yeah, Dixon starts it off with that strong left-hand drive. Wanamaker comes back and puts one into the middle of the floor. Then Robinson, the big, start going to work. And the same thing with Brown down deep. So Jamie Dixon's team doubling the score, 16-8 with the points in the paint. Good reaction, I thought, too, from a slower start than what they would hope for. And it really went to their strength.
It's a 19-2 run for Pittsburgh. Nelson got hurt at the 10:23 mark. And Oakland's been outscored 22-6 since that injury. Nelson is being stitched up as we speak. Benson. The leaner goes. Keith Benson took it at McGee. He's got 9.
He gave him that first little shake with the body and then hit one right to the middle of the Pitt sign on his chest to just move McGee back just a touch.
The drive by Wanamaker, hooks a pass inside. And a foul called as Nasir Robinson got pushed. Jonathan Jones will pick up the personal. This is a 10-point game. First half action continues. Wednesday on a special night of Survivor, both the heroes and villains will go to Tribal Council. It's an all-new Survivor, Wednesday only, CBS. I know they have a number of physical challenges on Survivor. Nothing quite as physical as this.
Nope, not at all. A very tough one to take right there for Nelson.
And started bleeding profusely. Obviously, Oakland just hoping to get him back for this second half. Nelson, one of the emotional leaders, fifth-year senior for this Golden Grizzly squad. Free throws here for Nasir Robinson, averaging 6.5 points per game. Shooting free throws, though, at a 44% clip. Pittsburgh has gotten their field goal percentage up to 42%. Oakland is shooting it at 26% from the field. Jonathan Jones, who averages 12.5 points per game, only one field goal attempt for Jones. 2 points, both coming at the free throw line. And what do you want to do if you're Oakland right now is make sure that you get good decisions and good shots, because you don't want Pitt to go up 16-ish at the half. You want to make sure you hang around for the next couple of minutes. Cushingberry had it come off the rim and knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Benson. 23-8. Pittsburgh has outscored Oakland since the injury to Nelson. And the Golden Grizzlies 1 of 8 from three-point range. This season they shot it at 33%. Foul called out front on Valentine. Drew Valentine, a freshman from Lansing, Michigan. And more free throws here for Pittsburgh. Well, for Greg Campy, he said, look, our team isn't worried about what people are saying. Can a 14 seed beat a 3 out of the Big East? Although it already happened in this tournament. Campy said, we are thrilled to be here. There was pressure on this team to make the NCAA tournament. They were clearly the best team in the Summit League this year.
And he took the approach that they're playing with house money, and that's exactly what you have to do coming into the NCAA tournament if you're in their situation. And they started out pretty well. It's just to get back to that Nelson injury. I mean, they were up 14-10 with a lot of time. Picked that off to a slow start.
Now they're down 35-22. We will hit the 2-minute mark of this first half. Their only conference loss this season was a blowout to IUPUI. They got revenge in the tournament championship. Wright is off the mark on the runner. And that defense has clamped down on Oakland.
McGee almost took Brown out before half court just then.
1:39 left on the clock. Woodall backs it up. He's defended by Jones. Wanamaker gets a screen from McGee. Kick out. Brown, the drive, and the deuce.
Really seeing the Pitt squad really play their type of basketball, mixing it up.
Jones short on a 3. One and done for Oakland. Brown on a dump down for Wanamaker. Repost, extra feed, McGee, the throw down.
Now the extra pass is what Jamie Dixon really prides himself in with his squads, and they are very unselfish, and they're doing just a terrific job of it for the last 5 minutes or so of looking, passing, and being unselfish. A double points in the paint.
26-4 run. Cushingberry, soft touch. He's a big, strong guard at 6'3", 243 pounds. He played tight end in high school. Oakland down by 15 with 35 seconds left. There's an 11-second difference. Shot clock to game clock. Woodall gives it up. Wanamaker being defended by Valentine. And an offensive foul called, moving screen against McGee of Pitt. So Oakland can hold for one with 25 seconds remaining.
Yeah, what they want to make sure right now is that they don't turn it over. They get the last shot. They're down to 15. That's what they want to go in at halftime or better. And hopefully regroup. And maybe if they really get lucky, get Nelson back on the floor. Who I believe, Ian, has just walked out on the floor.
He has. 5 seconds left. Cushingberry down to 3 seconds left. Benson inside, and count it. There's the horn. Pittsburgh with a 39-26 lead over Oakland. First round in the West Region here in Milwaukee. We'll send you to Greg Gumbel, AT&T at the half. After this message and a word from your local station, you're watching CBS Sports, the exclusive home of the men's NCAA basketball championship.
CBS Sports presents AT&T at the half. Your world delivered.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to AT&T at the Half here in New York. I'm Greg Gumbel. We're going to take you right out to the action taking place in Buffalo, where Missouri and Clemson are a point apart. Let's join Gus Johnson and Len Elmore.
Missouri, Clemson. Game was tied at 39 at the end of the first half. Now the Clemson Tigers up by a penny, 46-45. Been a fast-paced game. Missouri staying in this game with points off turnovers. They forced 14 turnovers, and the result has been 16 points off the 14 turnovers.
Notwithstanding the fact that Trevor Booker now back on the bench. Coming out in this half, Clemson tried to force feed him. He didn't get a lot of touches, not a lot of opportunities to score in the first half, and they came out trying to get him the ball. And Missouri continues to bottle him up, forcing him to kick it out and forcing other Clemson Tigers to beat him. And that's Devin Booker, 31, that you're looking at the time, not Trevor Booker.
And a timeout call by the Tigers. Mike Anderson with some words for his crew. 1-point game. Back after this. Wednesday on a special night of Survivor, both the heroes and villains will go to Tribal Council. It's an all-new Survivor Wednesday, only CBS. And the question here, who will survive and advance to the next round where West Virginia awaits? Clemson and Missouri, 46-45. Almost 4 minutes into the second half. Taylor, Ramsey, Denman, Bowers, Tiller on the court for Missouri. And they throw it away. 15:58 to play, second half. Another timeout on the floor. 1-point game. Back after this. And the big question for Coach Oliver Purnell, he's been very successful, but can he finally do it?
Well, obviously, he's gotten teams there. The question is getting over that hump, and it's a huge gorilla that's standing in the room every time you talk about the NCAA tournament and Oliver Purnell. But if any team's going to get here, this could be the one. Again, well balanced. He's got guys who can put the ball in the basket. They play pretty solid defense. But against this Missouri pressure, the key is how often will they turn the ball over, and particularly in the open floor, live ball situation, so Missouri can get out in transition. That's where they're going to score.
Johnson straight away, air ball, right out of bounds.
Well, he got bothered on that one. That was almost a rush. Sometimes, you know, you're going to have to fake. He got bothered, no question about it. That challenge by the length of Bowers. But sometimes you got to fake and put it on the floor.
Denman in the game now for Missouri with the rock. Tiller. Ramsey comes out the screen. And deflected out of bounds by Johnson. Noel Johnson, freshman, got great size. And an even better jump shot. 6'6", inside Denman, nice left hand.
Nice job by Marcus Denman and getting that quick first step and beating the help side that came over the block.
Young hands it off. Johnson can't hold on, but Grant is there and he's fouled.
No hesitation by Denman. He sees the opening as soon as Bowers comes to the high post. He puts it on the floor and goes hard to the basket, and that beats the help coming to protect.
Jerry Grant back at the line, talking about his father Harvey. When you think about that Oklahoma team that his father played on, what some great players: Stacey King, Mookie Blaylock, and they had beaten Kansas twice that year.
Well, they had it going. I mean, they played that fast pace that Coach Billy Tubbs liked to play. Mookie Blaylock, good point guard, excellent defender. Stacey King, outstanding offensive player.
King went on to win a world championship with the Bulls, and Michael Jordan as well. Game tied at 47. Grant misses the second. Baseline. Tiller rises. Smith with a rebound. Outlet to Young over the shoulder. Here comes Young. In and out dribble. Hard down the lane. Picked it up. The kick. Smith passed it up. And they'll play for a good shot. Grant, nice play on the box as he made himself big. But Young has had the biggest day so far for Clemson.
Yeah, but he's been the littlest big man out on the floor. Being able to knock down threes and then attack, penetrate, and find the range. And that's what Andre Young has given Clemson, and that's what's helped Clemson weather the otherwise poor performance in ball handling. Is when Andre Young attacking, pushing the envelope against that pressure.
Extra pass and a pound down. Grant from Booker. Now, as a big man, Lenny, I'm sure you appreciate this interior passing.
Well, it's all about the high-low. You see right in the mid-post areas, Trevor Booker. And then with the cut, as everybody focused on Booker, the guy that Missouri tries to take out of the game, the whole defense, look at almost 4 guys surrounding him. The backdoor cut by DeRay Grant works. And again, give Trevor Booker a lot of credit. Here's a guy that's accustomed to scoring, being the man on offense, and he's giving himself up to try to win this ball game, getting his teammates involved.
Booker with 3 assists.
And a lot more movement that has led to assists.
And Grant with 11 points and 5 rebounds in this game.
Clemson, Missouri promises to be tight throughout. Meanwhile, Wisconsin's lead over Wofford now down to 2 out in Jacksonville. Jim Nance and Clark Kellogg are there.
Things have changed in Jacksonville. That shot ties it up. It's Junior Diggs who has taken over in the second half for the Terriers, who trailed on a couple of occasions by 10. We're down 8 at halftime and have now tied it at 31. They've hit all 5 of their shots in the second half.
So Wofford and Wisconsin are tied at 31-31. We will keep you posted on that game. Meanwhile, in Buffalo, let's take you right back there where Missouri and Clemson, it's a 3-point game, 14.5 to play. Once again, Gus and Len.
The ball in the second half.
Nice job by Andre Young right there. They're trying to swing the ball through Denman, and Andre Young denied him at the top.
English. And Ramsey picks up the dribble, 10 to shoot. English 20-foot pull-up. Oh, and he gets the bounce.
English exerting a little of his last name on that ball as he twists his body.
And now they get to set up their defense. Game tied at 50. Stitt. And a turnover. Tiller. Ramsey. Tiller. And foul.
Stitt just threw that one in a crowd, and Andre Young was the guy he's trying to get it to, but Young's so small. You take a look at the setup right here as they now try to match up, and watch Andre Young right in the middle. And the anticipation, just an excellent job by Lawrence Bowers, who's on the back line of that pressure. He gets a hand on it. Another deflection, turns into points for Missouri.
One of 2 from the line. Missouri goes up 51-50. Tight game. In the first half, we have a number of ties and lead changes. Now 11 ties, 11 lead changes for the game. 13:33 to play.
Right here, this kind of pace is an advantage for Clemson. They can set up, use their size advantage.
Batted out. Track down, save. English will rise if he can. The kick. Denman. Now English deep in the corner. And hits. Kimmy English.
Feeling it.
Very much so.
Missouri opening up for these teams at what is a sizable lead. 13 minutes to play. 54-50 Tigers over the Tigers. One other game in progress in Spokane. 66-59 Purdue leading Siena, coming up on 2 minutes to play in regulation. Thanks for joining us on AT&T at the half. A timeout. Back to Milwaukee for the second half in just a moment.
CBS Sports presents AT&T at the half. Your world delivered. CBS Sports exclusive college basketball coverage is sponsored by Lexus, E-Trade, Buffalo Wild Wings, and by AT&T.
Just about set for second half action here in Milwaukee. Pittsburgh, the number 3 seed in the West, leading Oakland by a count of 39-26. Let's look behind the stats presented by LG. Keith Benson is the high man with 11 points for the Golden Grizzlies, but they were outscored 29-12 after Derek Nelson took an elbow inadvertently just above the left eyebrow. Brad Wanamaker, Jermaine Dixon, Gary McGee balanced scoring for the Pittsburgh Panthers in the first half. For more in-depth analysis of this game, watch CBS College Sports Network's continuing coverage of the NCAA Tournament. I am Eagle Jim Spanarkel, rest of our CBS crew. Second half is underway, and Derek Nelson has returned for Oakland. He's wearing the black headband. He just took 6 stitches above the left eye. Foul is called as Benson made his move to the rim. And there is the 50-year senior, Derek Nelson. Second foul on McGee. It was McGee's elbow that got Nelson. And Benson going to the free throw line.
And it's an amazing thing, too, with McGee inadvertently smacking Nelson across the head with that elbow. But a big impact on this Oakland team as he left the floor for a guy who had not scored a point.
39-27, Oakland down by 12. Benson now has 12 individually. Pittsburgh ended that first half on a 26-9 run. Here's Gibbs on the perimeter, defended by Jones. Wanamaker underneath. Count it for Nasir Robinson.
Pretty good motion without the basketball just then, but Wanamaker doing what he does so very well. Just plays solid basketball in terms of setting the table for the Pitt squad. Whoa.
Cushingberry, it's a tie-up. Possession arrow to Pittsburgh. Panthers get the ball with a 14-point lead. Just under a minute elapsed in this second half.
A little carryover effect here into the second half of what we saw in the first half, where Oakland started off fairly confident in the first 5 or 6 minutes of this game, but then the defensive clamps of Pitt took them really out of their rhythm for the final 8 minutes of the half.
Intercepted, good step in there by Benson. On a lead feed now for Wright. Oakland is shooting it at 29% from the field. Jonathan Jones only 2 field goal attempts. He drew defenders at left, right open, but they just can't make shots. Pittsburgh at 46% shooting. They've got a 41-27 lead. Nelson, tight defense. Wanamaker gets around him. Dixon on a kick out. 2-man game with Gibbs. Dixon fires. And rebounded by Cushingberry.
Not successful, but there's a good example of how Pitt plays it. They work the clock. They put it on the floor. And they help one another.
And a foul call. Cushingberry taking it right at Robinson.
We'll take a look at the ball movement with Pitt. Their bodies are moving very well. You see the first screen out there. Nicely done. And then watch around the corner. Continues off his set. And Robinson just finishes it off. A lot of action away from the ball.
Liedrich Eccles has checked into the game. Robinson stays on the floor with his 3rd foul. Well, it's Cushingberry called on his 3rd personal, an offensive foul. So the turnover, 10th for Oakland. There's Wanamaker, defended by Eccles. Gibbs fires. He was hit. Offensive rebound. Robinson puts it in. Nasir Robinson, relentless off the glass. He actually put up 26 points against Louisville. That's the highest scoring game by a Panther this season. Spin move, Jones had it knocked away, and a turnover.
You got the numbers.
Dixon bouncing for Robinson. He lays it in on the reverse. And Campy needs a timeout for Oakland. Largest lead for Pitt. 45-27. Panthers pulling away from the Golden Grizzlies.
Off the front iron, Kramer the rebound. You know they want the ball to get back into Jackson's hands, but Kramer calls a timeout. With 36.4 remaining. living on the line in the end.
Pittsburgh taking over early stages, second half, 45-27. Panthers leading the Oakland Golden Grizzlies, who have not been able to shoot straight. 28% shooting for Oakland. This is a team that averages 77 points per game, but they're going against a different level of defense in their Big East opponent here this afternoon, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, shots that normally would drop or you have taken before, you're getting bumped 2-3 times before your shot gets up there, so it's a different level of physical play, especially down deep where it may sometimes go unnoticed, but you go into the basket, Oakland, they're getting bumped and getting hit a little bit, but not foul.
And there is a foul as Derek Nelson, who missed the majority of that first half after getting injured, will go to the free throw line where he shoots it at 58%.
And Moore picks up his third against Kramer.
Kramer 75% at the line, so he's solid. And Tim, I hate that rule in college where you get that extra 10 seconds instead of, you know, the clock was at 30. You should only get 5 to get it across, but you get that recycle. This really just does not reward good defense at all.
0 for 1 today for Kramer. This is 1-1.
You could see it was just so big of a hole for Siena. This one not over by any stretch, but the margin's so thin and a couple of made free throws, it just gets it back to a 7-point lead.
Really a sense of resolve from Matt Painter's club. Don't ever question Purdue's toughness. But each guy must play to his maximum without Robbie Hummel. Ubilis will stop and go, and he's fouled. And 2 shots coming as the foul is picked up by E'Twaun Moore. Odi Adesiki will be checking in for Siena. It may take a while to play the remaining half minute. Adesiki comes in for Rossiter. Defense for offense here. Oh, with the miss. No time to set up defense, and so another quick foul given up. How about the job that they've done, though, Mike, Purdue on Franklin? Alex Franklin just shut out entirely in this half, as you mentioned.
No points for him.
Now, turnovers have been a huge issue for Oakland this season. They average 14 turnovers per game. That's among the most in the nation. 11 turnovers here this afternoon for Oakland. And they trail Jamie Dixon's squad by 14. Dixon told us, hey, we were thrilled when we heard we were going to Milwaukee. This is where we wanted to be, familiar with the city. It's a Big East city with Marquette.
They beat Marquette this year.
So they got a win in this arena.
Exactly.
And Dixon, his first NCAA tournament as a head coach, was right here in Milwaukee back in 2004. Knocked out of bounds. Last touched by Nelson. So Pittsburgh will retain it. 26 seconds left on the shot clock. Ashton Gibbs, he's been quiet for Pittsburgh. Gibbs has been held scoreless. Nelson defending Wanamaker.
Yeah, look at the white shirts, the way they're dragging the black shirts through. Nice cut down there for McGee.
Uncontested jam. Gary McGee has cracked double figures.
They really run their sets well, and that's why they can lull you to sleep, but their cuts are so strong, and so are their screens.
And Nelson loses the ball. Numbers developing. Gibbs a blocking foul. And he will go to the free throw line as Jonathan Jones was the last man back. The only one back defensively for Oakland. 5'11", 160 pounds. That's his third personal foul. We get a timeout. Pittsburgh 47, Oakland 31. The Golden Grizzlies, a 14 seed in the West. Xavier has already advanced. They got the win over Minnesota earlier today here in Milwaukee. Panthers lead by 16. Just over 4 minutes gone by in this second half. This Pittsburgh team, not only did they lose 4 starters, Jamie Dixon said they lost dominant personalities, just not recognizable names, guys that were leaders in the locker room and leaders on the court. The fact that this Pittsburgh team has been able to put together the year that they had is a credit to Dixon and this program. More second half action coming up. First round from the West. Run your fantasy baseball league with the award-winning Fantasy Baseball Commissioner. Try it for free at cbssports.com/commissioner. Jamie Dixon, third winningest active coach in college basketball, behind Mark Few and Roy Williams. Bruce Pearl right behind Dixon. Dixon took over. He was an assistant to Ben Howland when Howland left for UCLA. The 14th head coach in Pitt history. Played his college basketball at TCU, professionally in the CBA and New Zealand. And right now his team has got the double-digit lead, 47-31, with 15:47 to play in the second half.
There's 2 things about his team that really sticks out over the years. Number one is they're very unselfish usually. They give you the impression that they really don't care who's scoring. And the other thing about Jamie Dixon's program is that the kids that he has from start to finish basically improve, and they get better and better as players. And that's what, coaching is all about, and that's why he's been so successful.
Ashton Gibbs, he's a Jersey kid out of Scotch Plains, attended Seton Hall Prep in West Orange, New Jersey. And his first 2 points of the day gives Pittsburgh an 18-point cushion. This equals their largest lead of the afternoon.
Yep, the double team right there.
And the denial by Dixon. Swings it out for Gibbs, fires the 3. Rebound to Pitt. Wanamaker will go to the free throw line. And for Benson, that will be the personal.
And watch the step around from behind. That double team really guarding. And it's difficult to enter the ball there when 2 guys on the same team offensively. Benson had a teammate right behind him, which allowed the double team almost to be there by default.
Brad Wanamaker, 72% free throw shooter. Pittsburgh as a team shoots it at 69%. And Wanamaker can get into double figures here, and does. 20-point lead for Pitt. Oakland lost to Kansas this year by 30. They lost to Michigan State by 31. Lost to Syracuse by 38. And they get a bucket on the other end with Benson contributing.
So those non-conference games, what you're telling me there, they challenged themselves, even though the schedule's made, which Greg Campy did mention a year in advance. Get a little action over here at the table.
Wow, Jimmy actually handling the ball. Shocking.
I wanted to get a shot up just then, but
this was well within your range.
Yeah, Curtis Shaw made me give it back to him that fast.
Near steal by Eccles.
You want to break this down, or you want me to?
Well, I could break it down. The ball basically fluttered into your area. Well, you didn't have to do much.
No, and then it just sat on the table. I just kind of see. I had to pick it up. Look at you, though. You didn't budge.
No, I knew the angle was not going to affect me.
It's a lot safer getting a ball roll over here very softly than have one of these bodies come crashing over here.
Ball fake. Dixon, and 3 seconds is the call against McGee. 51-33. Panthers, 14:37 to play in the second half. 10th turnover of the day for Pittsburgh.
In the first 8 or 10 minutes of this game, Oakland really ran their cuts very nicely. Now they're just kind of getting through them and not getting good shots. Benson comes up with nothing but the air.
McGee's done an excellent job defensively against Benson,
really
crowding him.
Yep. And McGee's going to get called the other side, going the other way. But take a look at the height. Pretty much the same, but 250 versus 221, and McGee is really using that 30-ish pounds to his advantage and pushing Benson around and getting him off the blocks.
Third foul called against McGee. He will now sit for Pittsburgh. Will Hudson will come back on for Oakland.
Gotta believe Benson's fairly happy to see that number. I see him depart for a few minutes.
They're going to match up Dante Taylor, the freshman, against Benson. Up top, score it, and one. Go right to your go-to man with McGee on the bench. He's got 16.
Well, Taylor puts 240 pounds out there, but they don't get a time. He jumps over and tries to go across the screen to anticipate where the ball's going to go, and forgets that his man stayed home on him.
Second foul on Wanamaker as Benson completes the three-point opportunity. 17 now for Benson. Benson was 6 foot tall as a junior in high school. He was a reserve at Detroit Country Day, and that's a big reason why Oakland got him. He was a late bloomer. Gibbs jump shot. He knocks it down. Good sign for Pittsburgh that they've been able to control the opponent without Ashton Gibbs.
That might have been a trip right there.
And it was. So it will be Gibbs. Third personal. 53-36 Pittsburgh. 13:39 to play. Gibbs heading to the bench now for the Panthers. Team foul number 5 against Pitt. Wright handling it on the outside. He's being watched by Dixon. Oakland's offense has been very quiet. They're shooting it now at 30%. Jones, the wraparound. Might have been out of bounds. He was. Off the rebound, Nelson.
So there's 2 reasons why it's tough to get back into a game against Pitt. Number one, they're very good defensively, and also at the offensive end of the floor, they're not afraid to work the clock, get everybody involved in the offense until they develop into a good shot. So they use the big lead to their advantage, and they're also using the clock at the same time.
Woodall swings it. Brown with a ball fake. He gets around. Hudson leans in for 2. Gilbert Brown, 4th-year junior. Medical redshirt as a freshman. Benson in traffic. Taylor couldn't secure it initially, and now here comes Pitt the other way. Dixon draws defenders. Wanamaker can't hit the 3. Taylor the save.
Look at those extra passes on the kicks.
Brown off the rim. Loose ball foul. It's going to work against Larry Wright. And the frustration now coming out for Oakland. That's number 3 on Wright. Now a number 14 seed. You come into this tournament just hoping you catch the opponent on the right day, that everything goes your way. Early on looked like Oakland was going to hang. Drive high off the window and thrown down by Benson.
Yeah, see, Oakland just needs a couple of back-to-back buckets to occur for them, and they just can't seem to get Pitt out of sorts at all. Whoa, a swing there, that big right elbow for Woodall coming across. Here's the wild shot, but look at Benson finishing it up. It's just like an alley-oop off the glass for Benson. But at least you're tacking. Benson took those 6 stitches in the cut that he got in the first half. At least he's still driving to the hoop.
Second personal against Trayvon Woodall. Benson has scored 19. The rest of the team has matched him with 19. Oakland down 55-38. We'll hit the 12-minute mark of this second half. Jones being defended by Woodall. Cushingberry is back in for Oakland on a skip pass. Nelson puts his head down and double dribble. So there you go, Jimmy, trying to string together some quality possessions. Oakland has not been able to do that since the 10-minute mark of the first half.
Greg Gumbel in New York with an HP tournament update. The unpredictability of this tournament in Jacksonville. 13th seed Wofford will not go away. Terry Martin, short jump shot, and Wofford with a 2-point lead on Wisconsin. 5:22 to play in the second half. We'll keep you updated. Let's send you back to Milwaukee. Ian and Jim.
Well, Greg, they're on their edge of their seats in South Carolina right now for Wofford taking on Wisconsin. Here playing more according to form, with Pittsburgh the number 3 seed leading the 14th seeded Oakland Golden Grizzlies 55-38. Ball movement. Woodall the drive and kick. Jumper Brown. And it's rebounded by Wright for Oakland.
They continue to get good shots, though, Pitt, because of the dribble drive into the middle.
Wright the penetration, and he draws the foul. Never a good sign when you have more turnovers than you do field goals made. And with 11:28 to go in this second half, Wanamaker has picked up his third. Wright heading to the line where he shoots it at 92%. His mom, Karen, played basketball at Norfolk State. And first trip to the free throw line today. Nasir Robinson. He checks in, replacing Brad Wanamaker for Pitt. Two out of two for Larry Wright, the St. John's transfer. He's got 7 points overall. And Oakland down by 15. Still plenty of time here, but Oakland would need to cut it to single digits to really give Pittsburgh something to think about.
Yeah, and the problem once again is they just are content with passing the ball and using the clock whenever they can.
Dixon high off the window. That one goes down for Jermaine Dixon.
Jones has not been able to get untracked also with his speed. Very infrequently have we seen him come down the floor and go by people.
Jonathan Jones, outstanding distributor, co-captain of this team, led the nation in assists last season, but you're right, his impact has not been felt here today. There's the drive, the slap down by Woodall. It's out of bounds.
Yeah, we'll take a look at Dixon come across the top, uses the left hand very, very well, strong side shooter with the left, and puts it high off the glass. With the lefty, you have to get him in a situation there where you're forcing him to go right.
10 points, 5 steals for Dixon. And a foul called, and there is NCAA champion Juan Dixon, most outstanding player in the 2002 Final Four for Maryland, and the older brother of Jermaine. Their Aunt Sheila Dixon, the mayor of Baltimore. And Juan most recently with the Washington Wizards, as Benson hits on the first, a 1-and-1. Jermaine Dixon, senior, one of the leaders of this Pittsburgh squad. You mentioned it earlier. In terms of experience, the youngest team in the Big East this year. Benson now has 20. And no good on that high arcing delivery, tracked down by Dixon.
Yeah, they may be light on the experience compared to other Big East teams, but they do play well as a team.
Brown, the hard drive, and one.
And they just continue to mix it up. They keep challenging you. We talk a lot of times about challenging people who defensively go after them, but when they have the ball, watch the challenge right now that Brown puts on the entire Oakland defense. He just puts the ball on the floor and he says, come on, I'm going to make you play defense on me.
Third foul on Keith Benson. Gilbert Brown, he's come off the bench with 12. Now it's a 19-point lead. Down to the blocks. Benson, good, and one. Keith Benson with the floater.
Got a knack for getting that shot off also when he gets bumped. Doesn't really extend it all that high. Watch where he shoots it from, just a touch above the shoulder. Now, he did get bumped that trip, but pretty much where his comfort level is to be able to get his shot off.
J.J. Richardson called on the foul. And Benson now with 23. He has scored more than half of Oakland's points here this afternoon. Pittsburgh 60, Golden Grizzlies 44. We will hit the halfway point of this second half here in Milwaukee. First round play from the West Region. Winner here will take on Xavier, who got rid of Minnesota earlier today. A three. Gilbert Brown knocks it down. Pittsburgh, after a rough start offensively, they have been very impressive putting the ball in the basket. Timeout taken. 63-44. Pitt. A 6 beat in 11 earlier. Xavier defeating Minnesota. Number 3 Pittsburgh behind Jamie Dixon. They've got the big lead on 14-seeded Oakland, 63-44. Panthers started the day 0 of 6 from the field. They've shot 55% since. So that means 49% overall. Right, getting it inside.
Yeah, they just keep trying to run it through Benson as much as they can.
And Benson with some strong moves on the interior. He draws another foul. It will be Richardson picking up the personal.
Watch how many times he gets bumped, though. There's 3, there's 4 times, and then he finally gets hit as he makes his last move towards the basket. And that's the way Pitt plays. That's what the Big East was all about this year, no matter whether you're playing at home or on the road. Very tough conference.
Keith Benson, he dislocated his thumb at the Amari Stoudemire camp over the summer. His thumb doesn't bother him anymore, but he still wears the tape. He just likes it. Kind of like Richard Hamilton with the Detroit Pistons, who broke his nose and he kept the mask on, despite the fact that doctors told him, hey, you don't need it.
Doesn't leave that tape on 24/7, does he?
I believe he does. I've done some extra reporting. That's all day.
All night.
63-45. Pittsburgh in front right now. The Oakland head coach is not a happy campy. Greg Campy in his 26th year as the head man with the Golden Grizzlies, getting to the NCAA tournament this year. Last year they thought they were an NCAA tournament team, but they lost to North Dakota State in the Summit League Conference Championship game and fell just 1 game short of getting to the big dance. 18-point lead for the Panthers.
There's that wing look.
Brown, the baseline delivery, and it's knocked out of bounds. Oakland will have it. Well, look at that. 26 years in one spot. 4 other coaches have been at their respective schools longer. That's it in Division I.
That is amazing, too, when you think about it.
Long 3. Cushingberry can't get it. Rebound inside. Nelson missed it on the interior. Bring down as Gilbert Brown got taken down from behind. Seven-team foul, so Pittsburgh will be in the bonus 1-1 as Eccles picks it up. That's number 2 on Liedrich Eccles. And heading to the free throw line, Gilbert Brown. Missed the first 11 games of the season with academic issues. 70% free throw shooter. This Pittsburgh squad went on a terrific run in the NCAA tournament last year, falling in the Elite Eight. Villanova with that memorable win to advance to the Final Four. And this year for Jamie Dixon's team, wins over Syracuse, Villanova, West Virginia. In a season where not a lot was expected from the outside.
Well, no, I mean, when you look at them, they have the talent, no question about that. You know, they're big guys. They don't have that many of them down deep, but what they do on the floor defensively and offensively is very consistent. And that's why they've had such a good year.
Liedrich Eccles getting the bucket. Dixon, tight defense there from Eccles, 8.5 to go. It's a 65-47 Pitt lead. Oakland has not been able to stop the Panthers. And there is a stop for Oakland defensively. Nice save along the baseline by Nelson. The drive. Jones had it knocked out of his hands and out of bounds. He touched it last. Now, if you're a Pittsburgh fan, you may want to close your eyes. We apologize in advance. East Regional Final against Villanova. Scotty Reynolds. The layup. 78-76. Villanova to the Final Four.
Yeah, and a classic Scotty Reynolds type of move, also coming down the floor and using his body right at the very end to make sure he was able to get that shot off in traffic.
Jonathan Jones has been called on a tee. So you tack on another personal, giving him 4. And free throws right here for Ashton Gibbs. And you know, that's one thing Greg Campy mentioned to us, that he was so happy that Jonathan Jones would get the chance to play in an NCAA tournament. A senior, local guy, all-time winningest player in Oakland history. But it has not been his day. Bounced the ball in disgust. Had something to say, and that was enough to get him a tee.
Well, the frustration just, you know, like we touched on before, first 6-7 minutes were going okay for Oakland. And then it's been very frustrating the way Pitt has clamped down on them at the defensive end.
Double team on Gibbs. Robinson the drive and gets the bucket.
Just unselfish execution. Get it to the middle of the floor. You bypass a double team out front, and then you have numbers if you go in a hurry.
The lead is 21. Layup doesn't go for Eccles on the inside. That one does. Keith Benson. And he'll get a chance to tack on one more after the timeout. For Pittsburgh, they're getting easy looks.
And using that size advantage.
14-second differential. Now 10 on the shot clock. And here it's Hughes. Until he wants it. Now he gives it up. It's Lohr from the... Yes! From 2, not from 3. And a timeout called by Mike Young and the Wofford Terriers. As Lohr hits the open jumper. The feed from Trayvon Hughes. 18 points for Lohr. Rattles it home. Now you wonder, what will Wofford do here with 17 seconds?
Well, Jim, you've got to go fairly quickly. You need to get a good shot. You play through your best players. That'll be Diggs, Rundle, and then also Dahlman. You've done a nice job running the little pick and roll up top, and also the screening action and the movement from weak side to strong side in the paint area. But I think you've got to get a shot up within 6 to 10 seconds to give yourself a chance. Actually, the sooner the better, in my opinion, because now if you don't score it, you get a chance to come up with an offensive rebound or foul and then stretch the game a little bit. But you can't try to milk this, I don't think, down to the last second. It's also a good time if you're a bit of a gambler, and sometimes when you're the underdog, run a play or you drive it in there hard and you look for a good three-point opportunity for one of your better three-point shooters. You know the Badgers are going to be conscious of protecting the paint and might not expect a three-point shot attempt here.
And they've been hitting their threes in the second half.
Exactly.
They're 3 out of 4 in this half. Maybe they'll go ahead and launch a 3 and go for the win. The Terrier, one of the tiniest dogs of all. We got one of the ultimate underdogs playing in an NCAA tournament for the first time.
Well, Diggs is a 37% three-point shooter. Salters is as well. They've both made a few here. They've both made threes in this second half. And that's really it. Rundles is 39% from the 3.
Here's what they've been playing for all season long, for a chance. Rundles driving in. Turnover going back to the Badgers. An appeal here by Wofford.
Yeah, I think Anthony Green may have seen that ball go off of a Wisconsin Badger. Or maybe not. They're consulting right now.
It's going to stay with Wisconsin.
take a look at it. Rundles in a tough spot here. Pretty good job moving the feet. Yeah, it looked like it went right off of him. John Lord, the big fella, moving his feet. Didn't give up the baseline. Now you got to foul immediately if you're Wofford.
Bohannon to inbound. Snaps it up to Lore, and Dahlman reaches in with 4.2 seconds to go. Lore going to the line. Again, double bonus. He'll be shooting 2.
Team foul number 10 on the carrier. John Lure on the line for Wisconsin, shooting 2.
Lure's already been at the line in this game. 2 for 2.
Wofford calls.
And a timeout called by Wofford.
Timeout.
Trying to not only give Lure a little time to absorb this
for Oakland. 70-53 Pitt. And a steal as Jones is able to pick that one up off the floor.
They may be down a bunch, but they're not going to go away from an effort standpoint.
Eccles had it come off the side of the backboard on a fadeaway, and then he's called for the foul as he got into the personal space of Ashton Gibbs. Eccles called on his 3rd foul. 6:54 to play in this second half. Ashton Gibbs, outstanding free throw shooter, 89%. Cushingberry will sit, and he's replaced by Drew Valentine, freshman from Lansing, Michigan.
Lure, 72% free thrower on the year, Jim.
By the way, Wofford still has 1 timeout left. That makes the margin 3. Here you go. Makes it a 4. Wisconsin calls a timeout.
Dribble and get his little mid-range jump shot off. And if you can do that, it makes your drives to the basket that much more effective.
Both teams in the double bonus. Wanamaker at the line. Now, you mentioned it earlier, the fact that Pittsburgh, they've got players that you can put into different roles. Wanamaker can handle the ball. He can play the 2. He can play the 3. He'll go down and rebound for you. Dixon is a swingman. Nasir Robinson is 6'5", but plays inside. Eccles again. It's a triple. Ledrick Eccles.
And when they do that, Pitt, they never seem to be out of sorts in terms of running their sets. 3-on-2 little mini break.
And Dixon with a short pop. Nice touch. Jermaine Dixon. Off the made basket. Jones. Over for Eccles.
Rundles to inbound, and Lore is going to challenge the inbounds throw. Steps up to Diggs. Tries to get in traffic. Bohannon backs off. The shot's no good, and the Badgers are moving on to the second round.
Gibbs unable to hit the 3.
Seems like they have guys just come off the bench in the wing area over there all the time. Now, every time you turn around, there's a guy on the wing who's in a pretty good position.
Jones lobs it inside. Benson trying to use the body. And McGee didn't move.
Good look.
Back door, Valentine gets the layup.
Yeah, you have to give Oakland credit. They're still playing hard. They're grinding it out against a team that's executing very well at all their mistakes, taking advantage of them.
5:29 to play and a timeout taken. 15-point game. Pittsburgh in front. The other part for Jamie Dixon. Dixon's team has won at least 1 tournament game in 7 of the last 8 years, so they haven't been susceptible to the lower seed knocking off the higher seed. Pittsburgh normally will take care of business early on, and last year made that outstanding run.
Yeah, I think part of that whole concept is the way Jamie Dixon prepares his team. He is very, very well prepared in terms of having his team come in and night out, and they just seem to execute very well.
15-point lead for Pittsburgh. Look at the game summary. 51% shooting, and they've spread around the wealth. 5 players in double figures for the Panthers. After the timeout, Robinson holds. We come up on 5 minutes to play. Dixon fires, and rebound tracked down by Valentine for Oakland. Eccles is fouled by Woodall. That means 2 free throws coming up for the freshman Ledrick Eccles. And even 5 minutes to play. Coming up later on here on CBS, Florida State matching up against Gonzaga in the West. Georgia Tech, Oklahoma State, Midwest, Arkansas, and Duke in the South. New Mexico State and Michigan State in the Midwest. Eccles has 16 points. And now it's 17. Oakland down by 14.
They are trying to make this interesting, but they've got a long way to go.
Oh, a near steal. Did he bounce it off of Dixon is the question. He did not. Eccles thought that he had made the play defensively. Oh, went right through the legs.
Yep.
Instead, it's Dixon all the way to the hole, and a chance for 3.
They're very good once they get past the front wave of the trap. And most teams will take it past half court when they've got the numbers like that after being pressed and not attack. But watch the decisions. They keep it spread, and the strength and the aggressive attack by Dixon.
And Eccles called on the personal foul. That is number 4. Dixon missing at the line. 16-point advantage for Pittsburgh. Dixon now with 14. Pull-up jump. Nelson can't hit the 3. Rebound came outside. Wanamaker all alone, and he lays it in. Off the feed, heads up play by Trayvon Woodall, who noticed Wanamaker darting to the rim. 40 points in the paint for Pittsburgh, and a foul called. Jonathan Jones will head to the strike. Pitt 79, Oakland 61. We've got 4:31 left. Second half. Well, we asked Greg Kampe about this group of players, and he said, look, you make the NCAA tournament at a school like Oakland, you will benefit down the road. He believes that the guys that are currently on this roster, like Jones, they're here because this team made the tournament back in 2005. It's big for the program. Obviously, it makes a lot of headlines locally in the Detroit area. Oakland, located in Rochester, Michigan. Panthers handle the trap.
Oh, you can't put a price tag on what that does for recruiting, especially kids who want to play at a program that has get some publicity out in terms of what Greg Kampe has done for this program. Has been there a very, very long time. So you're absolutely right. He understands the impact of it.
Dixon at the free throw line. I think Greg Kampe has pretty good job security. You get that feeling?
You think? Huh?
Yeah. 26 years as the head man at Oakland. 15 points now for Dixon. And Eccles will check back in, trying to save him defensively because of the 4 fouls. And he replaces Drew Valentine. It's just been too big of a hole to climb out of for the Oakland Golden Grizzlies, down by 17. And Pittsburgh, a team that averages 68 points per game. They put up 80. Jones cups the ball. Benson could not secure it initially. And a scrum for it. It's going to work against Pittsburgh.
Even that initial drive, very difficult there for Jones to get a shot at getting towards the basket in the middle of the floor. Gibbs will take that one on the reach.
Fourth foul on Gibbs. 9 of 14 from the line for Keith Benson. April 8th through 11th. CBS Sports again proudly presents golf in its grandest glory. It can only be one place, a tradition unlike any other. The Masters from Augusta National. 1 out of 2 for Keith Benson. His dad, Keith Sr., played at Jackson State. Dixon met by Wright. 16-point differential. Robinson gives it up. Wanamaker had it jarred loose by Benson. Gibbs unable to hit on the 3-ball. Jones in transition. Pull up. Rims out on a 3.
One of the few times that Jones got it down the floor in a hurry, but he had 2 Pitt players waiting for him, not allowing him to go to the basket. Just a very good, solid reaction. That's a balanced offensive shot for Pitt the last trip down, and they were automatically in their defensive stance.
Down to 3:20 remaining in this second half in Milwaukee. Pittsburgh in complete control, 80-64 over Oakland. Wanamaker using the McGee screen. Excellent move by Robinson underneath. And Pittsburgh has gotten so many points on the interior, just attacking the rim. 42 points in the paint. Robinson with 13 points, 5 assists. We have under 3 minutes to play now. First round action from the West Region. Hard drive and getting the roll, Jermaine Dixon.
They don't do anything softly, that's for sure.
17 for Dixon. Terrific slasher. And that maturity has really shown this year. Eccles. Rebounded by Robinson. Just over 2 minutes to play. And Pittsburgh up by 20. Xavier waits in the second round. Musketeers took out Minnesota earlier today. Robinson comes to the outside, watched by Valentine. 10 to shoot. Wanamaker. The drive, left-handed delivery doesn't go. Oakland pushing tempo. And layup no good for Jonathan Jones. The follow. Foul call. Drew Valentine will shoot 2 when we come back. Greg Campy, this is not what he envisioned with Oakland making the trip to Milwaukee. They're down 20 to number 3 seed Pitt. Sunday on CBS, the Amazing Race teams hit France. It's an all-new episode Sunday after 60 minutes, only CBS. Pittsburgh, the number 3 seed, will move on and will face Xavier here in Milwaukee on Sunday. The winner there will advance on to Salt Lake City in the West Region. Valentine knocks down the free throw. He's got 6 points off the bench. And Jamie Dixon's squad. They knew about Oakland, played him a few years ago, so they were familiar with the program. He knows Greg Campy. And it doesn't look like Pittsburgh has been the least bit surprised by the Golden Grizzlies here today. 84-66. Derek Nelson, who took an elbow, inadvertent one, from Gary McGee. 10-minute mark of the first half. Received 6 stitches. Didn't play the rest of the half. Came back to start the second half. But it seemed to take the wind out of the sails of Oakland at that point. Foul called out front. Another look at it. A foul was called as McGee made his move and came down right there.
Yeah, and obviously an inadvertent elbow did the damage. And, you know, one thing, it was Nelson who got those 6 stitches on him, but I thought that his entire team reacted to a negative side and never really had any punch going forward from that point on.
Nasir Robinson at the free throw line. Nelson had broken his nose in the Summit tournament. Robinson missed on a pair, kept alive, and controlled by Oakland. Final minute 22. Eccles lost it, trying to save it. Ended up tossing it to Pittsburgh and Ashton Gibbs. Brown has given Pittsburgh a lift off the bench. 1 minute to play here in Milwaukee.
Yeah, when Brown plays well, this team usually does very well.
Woodall lines it up and connects a three. Trayvon Woodall, the freshman. 87-66. Pittsburgh 53% from the field. The leaner doesn't go for Benson, and cleared by Dante Taylor. 1.5 second difference, shot clock to game clock. Pittsburgh fans come to their feet here at the Bradley Center.
Yeah, Jamie Dixon just wants them to pull it back out here.
Back it out for Gibbs. They're either going to have to take a shot clock violation or a shot. And it'll be a shot. Trayvon Woodall breaking down the Oakland defense. Eccles lets it fly. Pittsburgh takes care of business. The number 3 seed in the West, the Panthers, all over Oakland, 89-66. Greg Gumbel coming up in New York after this.
Back in our studios in New York, these are the games coming your way roughly 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight. They include Florida State meeting Gonzaga, number 1 Duke in the South taking on Arkansas, Pine Bluff, New Mexico State, and Michigan State. Then later on this evening, the top seed in the West, Syracuse, will be in action against Vermont. Ohio State, the number 2 seed in the Midwest, against UC Santa Barbara. Greg Gumbel, Greg Anthony, Seth Davis. It's easy to say Cornell is the biggest surprise of the day, but I kind of thought Wofford was the biggest surprise of the day.
Well, they were very competitive against Wisconsin. Jason Bohannon continues to struggle from the perimeter, but what about that matchup? When you talk about Cornell, they got size, they got some athleticism, and obviously they can shoot it lights out.
I think Cornell can win that game. A couple of interesting games tonight. Sort of a return to form today, but a couple of lower seeds. Georgia Tech, a 10 seed. I like them over Oklahoma State. And a minor seeding upset Louisville over Cal in a classic 8-9 match.
I'll take up the issue with you about no buzzer beaters today a bit later. We'll see you again at 7 Eastern time as we continue to travel the road to the Final Four.